I've traveled all over the world, and when I say I'm from Augusta, Georgia, one of the things they say is, that's James Brown.
I want to get into it, man, like a sex machine, man, moving, doing it, Can I count it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up, get on up, get up, get on up.
We are a regional museum, history and heritage. We cover 6 counties, 4 counties in Georgia and 2 counties in South Carolina. Part of my goal is that when people visit a museum, you want them to see themselves somehow. And it needs to reflect back. And I honestly felt that it needed more than what we were doing in our Augusta story, which is our general history of the area. I wanted to give people an idea of the talent that came out of this area. So it was a no-brainer doing a James Brown exhibition. But in order to do it, you have to have the trust and a relationship with the family. So it took about 2 years to get there. We started in about 2006. He passed away in 2006. So I began working on it at that point in time. And by 2008, we opened the exhibition as you see it upstairs.
He was magic. He was just pure magic.
He was just a bundle of dynamite.
James Brown has it. Whatever it is, he has it,
The display is set up the man, his music, and his legacy. What I wanted to do is to make sure they understood what Mr. Brown's contributions are to philanthropy, but I also wanted to show him as a human being. I knew that there was a lot of information out there. There was a lot of objects that it could tell his story. I mean, something as simple as I got invited to go out to the privilege to go out to his home a couple months after he passed away, and I got to see where he lived and all the things that surrounded him. Well, everything from a Bible in most every room that was open. He was a clothes horse. I don't know another way of saying it. He must have had, it seemed like, at least 3 or 4 walk-in closets that were full. When I put things on display, I try to represent him as best I can. It's almost as if he's looking down and he's either saying, now that's okay, Nancy, or no, you can't do that, Nancy. About 4 or 5 years ago, I had somebody from Germany that came. He came in very early in the morning on a day that we're normally closed, and he came all the way from Germany to see Mr. Brown. When you type in James Brown or James Brown Museum, Augusta Museum of History comes up when you Google it. So he was in town just to see this exhibition. Well, I couldn't say no. So I let him in there, and he started getting into the reading and everything, so I backed away and let him do his thing, and I actually left him, let him go through. He read every single label, wanted to, everything he could absorb. And about halfway through, I go in there and I just peek around the corner, and he's in tears. I say, my goodness, this is the emotion. And it wasn't anything necessarily he was reading, because I go through and I read it, but it's being in that environment. I mean, he felt Mr. Brown and what his contributions were to music. And if you can do that in every exhibit, I mean, that's a home run. Then you're making it happen. And I'm always looking for the home run.